With each new entry, Metal Gear Solid has exceeded the expectations of fans while pushing gaming as a medium into new heights. Given the iconic status of the series, Solid Snake was destined to sneak his way into other forms of media. And he did. Metal Gear novels, comics, audio dramas, freaking Risk. And then of course, there's the long gestating Metal Gear Solid movie. Hollywood's Metal Gear adaptation has been in development hell for nearly 2 decades. What went wrong? Will it ever actually be made? Well, lace up your rollerblades and grab your finest glass of wine, because this is the story of the Metal Gear Solid movie that, so far, has never come to fruition.
Glad you could make it. The party's about to start. This is E3.
Let's kick this off with a trip back in time to E3 2006. Nestled in with PlayStation's historically accurate giant crabs, a $599 PS3, and
Ridge Racer
was a stellar showing from Konami. They absolutely stole the show with the cinematic reveal of the then hotly anticipated Metal Gear Solid 4. But after the presentation concluded, another Metal Gear reveal almost slipped under the radar. As members of the press began to funnel out of the theater, they were greeted with a pamphlet from Konami that read, "Solid Snake on the silver screen?" And just like that, a live-action Metal Gear Solid movie was officially announced. Details were scarce, but in the article coming from Kojima himself, a few points were revealed. A deal had already been negotiated with a major Hollywood studio, which we now know to be Sony Pictures. Kojima went on to express his desire to shoot in Alaska.
Snakes don't belong in Alaska.
Hinting that the movie could draw its inspiration from the first Metal Gear Solid game. And last, the article intentionally went out of its way to state that the infamous movie critic, boxer, and director, Uwe Boll, would not be involved with the movie in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, soon after the movie's announcement, David Hayter, the voice behind Snake, pitched his vision of a live-action MGS to Konami. Now, before he gave Iroquois Pliskin his iconic chain-smoker growl,
"Cigarettes? How are those going to help you?"
You never know.
Hayter was already an accomplished screenwriter, having adapted X-Men, X2, and later Zack Snyder's Watchmen for the big screen. His pitch for Metal Gear was described as, quote, "Metal Gear as the apocalypse now of the digital age, with Snake at the center of a swirling whirlpool of geonomic military madness." But alas, Konami didn't bite, and Hayter's pitch was rejected. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a video game movie without our old pal Paul W.S. Anderson throwing his hat into the ring. The director behind 6 Resident Evil movies and Monster Hunter, expressed his interest in adapting Metal Gear Solid in 2009. However, aside from early negotiations, he was never formally involved with the project, which is probably a blessing for us all. Even though I could see Mila Jovovich being a good choice for Meryl. The movie did end up finding its producer in Michael De Luca in 2008, whose credits include Moneyball and The Social Network. In an interview with Collider, De Luca stated that he was trying to get a script that would honor the storyline of all 4 Metal Gear Solid games, and that he wanted the movie to set the bar higher for video game movies. More rumors of the time suggested that Christian Bale was in talks to play Snake. Wikipedia says that Bale supposedly confirmed this to some UK men's magazine called Nuts back in 2008. However, Bale denied it when he was asked about it again in 2009.
Metal Gear Solid, was this ever something you talked about doing as a film?
No.
Are you a video game fan?
Yeah.
What do you play?
That.
By 2010, De Luca and Sony were still struggling to find a director, so they brought in the man behind the cinematic success of Marvel, Avi Arad, to co-produce. But even with the man that ruined Spider-Man 3 on board, the movie was still making little progress. The film faced many hurdles on the road to production, with the biggest being its script. Adapting Metal Gear was proving to be an enormous challenge, mainly due to the complex and intricate storyline of the source material.
Who are the Patriots? And Lali Lulelo.
Lali Lulelo. Gotcha.
it wasn't only the script that was causing problems. De Luca opened up about some of these issues and revealed that Konami was concerned about the potential impact of the movie on the series' image, saying, "Video game companies are very protective of their property, and there are certain things a studio requires freedom-wise to market and distribute a movie effectively in a global marketplace, and sometimes getting those two things to match up is really hard. It was just kind of impossible to get the agendas to match up." The project's budget was rumored to be somewhere between $40 and $80 million, which Konami and Kojima may have felt wasn't enough to do the special effect-laden franchise justice on the big screen. Despite these obstacles, Kojima just couldn't contain himself from publicly sounding off about his picks for the lead role of Solid Snake. A short list which included Hugh Jackman, Viggo Mortensen, and Luca Marinelli. That's all well and good, but the question remained, would this movie ever get off the ground? After years of little to no progress, it was starting to look like the Metal Gear movie would be joining the perpetual graveyard of the many other canceled video game adaptations that Hollywood failed to materialize. That is, until August 2012, when Jordan Vogt-Roberts of Kong Skull Island fame officially signed on to direct the film. If you pay close attention, he even included an homage to Metal Gear in Kong Skull Island, with a boat donning the name Gray Fox in the film. Given Vogt-Roberts' fresh take on the project, his clear passion for the source material, and Kojima on board as a creative consultant, the MGS movie was officially back from the dead. Barely. From 2012 until now, a lot has happened. The whole Kojima-Konami fiasco, Metal Gear Survive, oh boy, and a Kojima-esque global pandemic to boot. With all of these factors at play, development on the movie has been slow to say the least, though we do have a few clues of what to expect. In celebration of Metal Gear's 30th anniversary in 2018, Vogt-Roberts posted several pieces of concept art related to the film. Although he didn't confirm that these pieces would reveal specific elements of the plot, the selection and focus on certain events and characters certainly suggests some details about the movie. The movie's plot will likely resemble the first game, covering the Shadow Moses incident, but with certain plot points altered, including the idea that Big Boss would be the villain, not Liquid Snake. The concept art also indicates a strong focus on the Boss, Gray Fox, and Sniper Wolf, hinting that these characters would also play key roles in the movie.
If anyone's listening to this frequency, I cannot provide any updates on the Metal Gear Solid film. But the director, Jordan Vogt-Roberts, is going to release even more concept art in hopes that it brings a little bit of light to the Metal Gear community in these dark days. Stay safe out there.
A few years later, during the peak of COVID lockdowns in 2020, Vogt-Roberts would go on to share even more concept art, offering an even deeper look at the potential direction of the film, which included some scenes straight out of MGS3. And finally, the movie found its Solid Snake in December 2020. Oscar Isaac, of Star Wars and Moon Knight fame, would officially be squeezing into Snake's iconic sneaking suit in the MGS film, a casting decision that was generally well received by fans. Vogt-Roberts spoke to Deadline about Isaac's casting, saying that he was the perfect fit for the role and that he was thrilled to work with him. Since then, the most recent update on the movie came from Oscar Isaac in a 2022 interview with comicbook.com, where he indicated that the movie was coming along, but it was still stuck in its early development phase. Vogt-Roberts echoed this same sentiment earlier in 2019, calling the development a, quote, complicated process. So if this thing's ever gonna happen, it's still years away, especially considering the current writer's strike. Given the numerous setbacks and delays that the project has faced over the years, there's still no guarantee that we'll ever actually see Metal Gear on the big screen, even though Jordan Vogt-Roberts and Oscar Isaac still seem to really want to make it a reality. But hey, video game adaptations are all the rage right now, and who knows, maybe the monumental success of The Last of Us and the Mario movie will be a nudge in the right direction to get MGS to the finish line. Either way, we'll just have to wait and see. So are you excited for a Metal Gear Solid movie? Do you think it'll actually happen? And if it does, is it just doomed to fail? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Even if it's another year.